Hello, everyone. Hi, Robin.
Hi, Heidi.
Hi. So today we wanted to talk to everyone about a little bit more information on the guidance system, clarity around that, a little bit on love-hate relationships and consciousness. We also have a viewer question. I think we'll start with that and I'll get reading it. So let's see here. I really loved she's referring, by the way, to our episode, I believe last week, episode 28. That's what she's referring to. I really loved this one. I love them all, but this one especially. The discussion about clarity was very important. Would love to hear even more teachings regarding those who can't make a decision out of fear of choosing the wrong thing, so they remain stuck instead of continuing to ping pong.
Yes. This is a good question. I am glad that you brought this up because I think humans really need to understand their guidance system better and exactly how it is responding to them. What is really occurring when you are deciding to do something, if you have a number of things that you are choosing from, and a human will often say, well, I don't know which one to pick. I am worried about this. I like this about that one, but I don't like that, you see. And all the while they are getting a little negativity as they are pondering it. So this is what, when she's talking about fear, this is really why you are stuck, why you're not making a decision, is because you have some contradictory thoughts about it, you see. And so humans are so lodged in right and wrong. They have this belief that there's a right choice and a wrong choice, or that something will be good for them and something else will not be good for them. And we would tell you that this isn't true. This is an open field of anything that you are wanting to expand, anything that you are wanting to try or be or do is available to you. Why would some things be bad for you and others be good? This is just not the case. But we'll tell you what your guidance system is really responding to. When you start to feel this negativity or this fear when you are choosing something to do, your guidance system is signaling you that you are holding contradictory thoughts to it. Therefore, your success in this endeavor may be limited or not what you are wanting to experience. You see, that's all it means. Now, if you get behind the experience, if you decide to clear up those little discrepancies or those contradictions in yourself, it's achievable. There is nothing, hear this, that you cannot achieve or have in the life that you're living, other than what you are contradicting. What are you not believing? Who are you listening to that is not you? Who are you adopting the beliefs of? Most of the well-meaning people that come to you and your relatives and some of your friends and even people that you are not knowing very well give their unsolicited advice to you. And what is their unsolicited advice? It is based upon their own fear, based upon their own life experiences. How could this have any positive effect upon you as you choose to listen to it? So our advice to you would be to know that as you ponder something, if you are feeling as though you are afraid of doing it, it's because you have contradiction. Now, contradiction can be corrected. If this is something you really want to pursue or you want to make it work, then your work is to look at where you are contradicting it and why you're doing it. Perhaps you are offered a job. You want to work from home, but this one does not allow for that. So as you look at the job and as you think you should take it, there's a little bit of negativity because the high self knows that you harbor this feeling that you would like to work from home and this does not offer it to you. It's always responding to you. Isn't it wonderful to know that you have this support, that you have this guidance system behind you that is going to let you know in every moment what it is you hold within you and where the conflicts are, so that you can know that if you move forward, might be a little bumpy, might be a little struggle. It might not, we're not saying it won't work at all, but we are telling you to the degree of the fear that you feel or what you identify as negativity would be to the degree that you are contradicting it. And then that would be the degree to the lack of or success of the success that you would have if you did choose to do this endeavor, you see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So basically the confusion that we have from welcoming in others' outside opinions, or maybe just our own life experience from listening to others over the year, that's what causes us to not be clear. And that's what this guidance is offering us, is letting us know
Well,
we're
first
not.
of all, the ones that are coming to you in their negativity and giving you advice of what to do and not to do have already been attracted to you in your contradicting energy. They would not be there if you were not fearful already or concerned, you see. And that is yet another example to you, who is surrounding you, who is coming to you, what is being said to you in regard to this endeavor that you are about to take. This is not necessarily their view, but you have attracted their view to you by your alignment to it, you see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That guidance system never quits. That law of attraction never quits, you see. All the people that will be coming to you will be attracted by you in the way that you are thinking and feeling about the situation you're about to embark on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we've established then that we need clarity for manifestation. And in our lives, sometimes the contradictions are
Now
great.
let's stand corrected. We
Okay.
need clarity for the desired manifestation.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
there will be manifestations whether or not you are clear or not, because you are never going to prevent what you are attracting to yourself in the way that you are feeling.
Sure. So if we are using an example, because I know we were saying we were going to touch a little bit on love-hate relationships, and your recent podcast was saying, you know what, if you're going to be in a situation that you're not really in alignment with, or that you're not having some negative emotion with, get behind it and try to have a clear focus so that you can make the best of it while you're in it. Is there any value in, like, say you're somebody who cannot get to that point, but you can get to the point where you remove yourself enough from the stuff that's negative, and you can just like kind of like almost step outside of it a little bit, not that you're out of it, but in a place that feels safer or better, and you feel a little bit more ease? Does that work, or does it have to be I'm fully in alignment with it?
It does work to some degree, but what we would recommend to you, if you are in a situation that you do not see a way out of, that you cannot either sell yourself to or get away from, then we would suggest that you look at it in the way that you tell yourself, I am choosing this. I realize it is not in alignment with me. I know that this is not the choice that I would make, but because of these reasons, and then list those reasons, yes, this is what is causing the feeling within me. If I move ahead and I make the decision that I know would probably be to my best alignment, I will suffer these emotions. I will have these things that I will have to deal with because of the decision that I make. So therefore, I am choosing the lesser of the two evils, or what I would deem more problematic to me than having to deal with what I am dealing with. And then we would like the idea, once you have done this, to do the removal of yourself as much as you can, to try to isolate that feeling of negativity that you are getting from being in something that you really don't want to be in. And in this way, it would make it a little bit better in your vibratory tone, just the honesty and the truth of, I don't like this, but I don't like this even more if I act upon it. So I am having to settle for something right now, and I'm going to soothe myself around it. And I'm going to do the things that I enjoy, that I love to do, that can make me feel good. And I'm not going to lie to myself or to anyone else that this is something that I'm preferring. I am simply choosing it because I know that the unknown, and it is an unknown because the human is projecting what they think it would feel like if they did act, and they don't know until they do act. So it's a little bit of fear, a little bit of guesswork, we would tell you, on the human's part, but they're selling it to themselves a little bit. Humans really like to sell themselves on things when they don't want to get out of them. They want to be victimized by them. And why is that? Because they like this justification for the reason that they are feeling the way that they are, because they are unconscious. They are in the human. We have told you before, when you are thinking just from your human form, this is where you are in the fear, this is where disarray is, or all of these concerns that you have. When you are in a conscious, connected state, what does consciousness mean? It means that you are aware of yourself. You are no longer the experience, you are the one observing the experience. And so when you are afraid to make a choice, who do you think that is? Do you think that's the observer, or do you think that's the experiencer? Who do you think it is?
The experiencer.
Absolutely. And the experiencer is unconscious. It's not able in its human form to think like it can in its connected conscious state, you see. And that's one of the reasons we recommend it to you or to anyone, that if they have a problematic area, that they use this consciousness, this awareness of yourself. When you say, I don't like this, I'm not going to pretend to, because many of you move to pretending. You think, I have to not let this bother me. I can't fly off the handle. I have to be blah, 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 perfect, whatever it is that you decide that you think you need to be. When a human decides this, they're not being connected because they're not in truth. But at least if you can be in truth, you are observing yourself. And in truth, you can say, I can observe that I do not like this. I see it. I'm conscious of it. But I am choosing it because I am not willing to make a choice that I do not know the outcome of, because I am human, you see.
Mm-hmm. And I would venture to say, and I'm sure you'll give me the full answer, but if you're someone who is, say, I'm choosing this because I feel like it's the lesser of the two evils, so I'm choosing this, and you start to make yourself feel better around a situation, then your high self is coming in more. And then I would assume that builds strength in the right direction. It maybe makes you stronger so that up the road, you are able to make a decision easier than if you stayed in the conflict of back and forth, back and forth.
Yes, we would agree with that. But one thing we will tell you, that there is a desire that has been built in a human when they are faced with a situation that ping pongs back and forth and creates a lot of negativity in their life. That ball of energy is going to continue to get bigger and bigger, as you know, and the response to it will become quicker and quicker and more intense as it grows in its energy size, you see. And so eventually it will rise to a point where that fear is overtaken by it, where you no longer, because of the misery you are feeling in it, that you will no longer fear being out of it, because you will know that where you are is quite painful, you see.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. So without that clear focus, our high self cannot align us to what we want. Like, we'll manifest things, but maybe not the things that we want. We have to find a way to have clarity. Now, whether that is by just choosing things that we like and going only in those directions that make us feel good, or choosing to be okay with something, like if we're in a situation we don't like and we choose to do it willingly and say, hey, I'm choosing this because this, we have to find a way to make it the best possible way that we can for ourselves if we truly want to manifest good things in our life.
Our advice would be that all of you must know or have had vision of someone who has decided in their pointed focus that they will not fail at something, that they are so directed and so in tune, and that no matter what anyone says around them, they are going to tell you it'll have no effect upon them. They're going to do it, you see. And this is the advice that we would give to all humans, is that even if you decide that you are going to accept something in your life that you are not really wanting because you are fearful of leaving it or getting out of it, yes, that you never give up that pointed focus of what it is you want. You don't have to be the creator of the experience that you want. You just need to point at it without contradiction. Now, as you know, when you become negative because something occurs in the experience that you don't like, that's a little bit of a contradiction. That is when we would like you to shift out of that contradiction and put your focus very pointedly, and then congratulate yourself because of that experience and noticing, this is directing me to my focus. This is not what I want. This is what I want. And now you go back to that pointed focus of what it is you are wanting, and you continue to grow that rather than growing in negativity against what you're wanting, you see.
So if we are in a situation where you have something that you do really like or that you do really want and desire, versus being in a situation that you don't like and just learning to feel good around it, is there a benefit in one versus the other, like following something that you really want in your life and being joyful about it versus finding a way to be okay with what you don't want, is there a benefit one way or the other, or are they going to all end up about the same?
We have told you over and over in past recordings that you have come here as a sovereign being, as an individual creator. And in that free will that you have to choose, do you think that it would be to your advantage to choose something that is not to your liking or to the alignment of you?
No.
It is not.
Yeah.
It is a fear that humans have. They stay in the jobs, the relationships, the proximities of where they live, all because they are fearful. They are afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And we have told you before that there is nothing ever for you to fear. That when you are in connectedness, when you are in consciousness, and you are in union with self, you will not need another or a different experience, because you will be filled with that source that is you, you see. When you feel you are fearful or you become afraid, it is because you have isolated yourself in the human, and the source cannot reach you. It cannot elevate you from its suffering. Let's go back to mastery just once again, because it is always a good idea to be very clear about what mastery is. Mastery feels everything with you. It feels the human. It feels the suffering. It knows all of your pain. It understands. You see.
Mm-hmm.
But it also knows that it creates by how it feels. You see. And so even though the human in its unconscious state and disconnected state is afraid, the high part of yourself, or the conscious part of you, takes over. And it feels you, and it knows, it soothes you. I feel you. I know you are afraid. I know you are in pain. I know you are hesitant to do this or to do that. I know. See?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just going to pick this. I'm going to pick the highest possibility. And then, because I know that if you agree to that, that this will be your outcome. This is what created the form that you're in. You chose it, whether you know it or not. Many of you feel as though you are in relationships or you are in places that you don't want to be, and that you are being victimized by them, or you've had a bad card dealt to you. And maybe you don't remember exactly how you did it or what your emanation was, why you chose it, but just make the mental contribution to yourself that you know you did it. You did do it. So if you did that, if you brought this experience to yourself that isn't to your liking, you can do the same thing to choose something that is to your liking.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be afraid, because when you are afraid, you are choosing that outcome. You are aligning unconsciously to an outcome that will not serve you. And the reason you even have the fear is because the high part of yourself doesn't agree with how you are thinking and feeling about the choice you are making.
Mm-hmm. So just to summarize that up then, your preferences and your good feeling thoughts and the things that you want in your life really is where you should put your attention and focus, because that is really what the high part of yourself wants. And doing anything else, do it as resistance free as you can, but try to obviously choose preferences.
Here is your homework. You have an experience.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel good. It is not what you want.
Yep.
And now you look at the experience as the observer. You move out of your human and you look at this as an observer, and you decide what you do want.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take your focus there. And you don't blame the one, and you don't attach to the experience, and you don't worry about the outcome of that experience. You simply are grateful for it because it has drawn a preference from you, a preference that will serve you, a preference that you prefer to have above it or what you are experiencing. And so now you say, thanks for that, whoever you are, whatever you are.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know what I prefer. And then you put your focus on what it is you prefer. But the problem is you don't know how it's going to happen. You don't know how soon it's going to come. You don't know what kind of way or when the universe is going to bring you that. And this is, again, a contradiction. You have to know that the moment that you have a desire, it is fulfilled. But now you have to believe it. You don't have to be the one to act on it. You can move out of the fear that you're in about acting. Everybody's afraid to act on something. You don't have to act. You'll be inspired. Something will occur that you won't miss, that will take care of your problem, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And this is our advice to you.
Okay. All right. So another question I had, kind of to just, in line with everything we're discussing today, would be, why do we choose to look at form and agree to what we don't want as being true, as opposed to creating form by choosing how we feel in regard to whatever we're wanting to create?
Yes, because a human in its unconscious state cannot accept the fact that it has created something that it does not like. It wants to blame somebody or something outside of itself. It's unconscious of it. It doesn't have the awareness or the ability to understand that a human is a tool. It is experiencing things, and then the response that you get from all that is the emotion to either you are moving into connection or you are moving away from connection, you see. But we ask all the time. We've had many humans we've had a session with, and they'll say, you don't get it. You haven't been here for a while. You don't know how hard it is when you're down here in the trenches and you're experiencing all this contrast and negativity. And we would say, what is it like to feel that contrast and negativity? It's painful. Why would a human decide to feel that they're miserable? They have no probability of getting out of something. They're stuck for the rest of their life and feel the thickness and the negativity of that, rather than saying, I'm glad I had this experience. I know what I want now. I'm so happy to know that this experience has given me a preference now that I can put my focus on. I feel better already. What feels better? Why are you deciding to choose something that feels worse? Because you can't believe it. You can't somehow perceive the creator that you are. If you really believed what we were telling you, you would choose the creator. You would choose that better feeling thought. What have you got to lose? You know what you're going to get if you continue to choose the negative. You've seen plenty of it. Why don't you go out on a limb and just talk yourself into feeling good? What have you got to lose? We would ask.
Well, that makes perfect sense. I think for a lot of people, though, if they are in a situation that feels negative or stuck, and they have fear around it, it's very difficult for them to not have fear about the unknown as well. So, you're saying, oh, just, what you've got here, take a leap and go try something and believe in yourself. But so often
we didn't even say take a leap. We did not.
Well,
we
visualize
said to
or
redirect your
create.
focus in gratitude that you are glad you know what you want from this experience. That's all we said. Did we say anything about having to act or having to be the one to go do something that you were afraid of?
No, you didn't. But I guess what I think happens to some is that they leave a situation that they are not happy with, and their fear around the unknown potentially creates a similar or a worse situation. And so they're not looking at it like you're saying, be the creator, be grateful for the experience. They're looking at it as, okay, now I'm out of this situation, but what if I go somewhere worse? And then they start creating that.
So it is your job then to know your guidance system. I'm feeling very negative when I'm feeling about getting out of this relationship or leaving this job or moving to this place or country. I'm feeling some negativity. And so now I know I'm holding some contradictory thoughts. Not that it's true that I should stay in the relationship, not that it's true that I should not take the new job, not that it's true that I should not move, but I have been notified through my guidance system that I am holding some contradictory thoughts in regard to this. Therefore, my outcome may not be what I am expecting. And fear is exactly right on. It is the correct indicator for the way you're thinking. So your job is to correct that in yourself. That is why you are living. It is so you can get rid of the contradictions to that and replace it with very powerful, positive outcomes that you are desiring, and then you will notice right away that the contradictory thoughts that you have will shift, and you will be able to make better choices because of it.
Okay, so really we need to at all times be when we're making big life choices or even small life choices, we need to be paying attention to how we're feeling, eliminating
Have a conversation
contradictions.
with yourself.
Mhm.
Talk to the higher self as though it is your friend in the room.
Mhm.
When I think about doing blah, 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 the problem, yes,
Mhm.
this is the emotion that comes up for me. And then name the emotion. And I no longer want to have this emotion. I would like you to help me transmute that emotion. We have told you before that as we receive the desires from humans and the emotions that they are having, we convert or transmute those to the highest possible outcome. So in all that is, you have already become what it is you want to become. And so now you as a human are trying to align to that out of your fear and angst or any of the contradictory things that are keeping you from accomplishing what it is you are wanting, you see. But you also can implement the high part of yourself, which is us or you, same thing, yes, same as we do, and ask for assistance. Ask that that energy of fear be transmuted for you.
Okay. You talk a lot about the fact that in our past incarnations, we're pre-planning or paving to our current incarnation, and then obviously from here to future lives.
Yeah.
How, like, when we find ourselves in this current life in a negative experience, whether it be with a child or a spouse or a job, um, how much of that is pre-planned and is the outcome of whether someone say will stay or go or resolve something with the child is already pre-planned also before they come in, or is that just really a free will while you're in the current life?
The present moment is very important because how you are perceiving any situation that you are encountering is what you are projecting into this life and into future lifetimes. So if you come into this life and you have the problematic child, it would, if you were to back up a little bit into the past life or the life before that, the way that you chose to perceive your experience is what is revealed to you now in the experience you are living. But you have this free will, you have this choice, and the choice is that you can perceive differently, that you can decide not to be afraid, that you can decide not to emote or react in ways that you have done in previous lifetimes, and therefore change the life you are in and then the life you are projecting into your future. Is that clear?
It is, yes. Yeah.
It's quite
And
simple, really. And doesn't it make sense to you? We have brought this up to you before. We want you to engage your guidance system, everyone that is listening, including you, Heidi. We're going to ask you for a response. Would it make more sense to you that you sit at a table and decide which people you're going to come into a life with and what it is you will experience based upon a talk you're all having around some kind of a table? We have heard this description. We find it to be a little bit ridiculous. Or would it make more sense to you that you are part of the one thing and that you are the one that is deciding the life that you will live based upon the perceptions that you are projecting in every moment that you are alive?
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yes.
Just to clear things up for people too, can you give us another definition of consciousness?
Consciousness is an awareness of itself. It is the human connected to the high part of themselves and full awareness of this connection. When a human goes into a reactory state, they are not conscious. They are reacting only to the perceptions that they hold based upon the experiences that they have had in their past or present moment. You see, that's all they're doing.
Okay.
When you are fully conscious and you ask what consciousness is, it's awareness of itself. It's awareness of this wisdom, of this knowledge, of this one thing of which everyone is a part of.
Yes. And to, again, if we want to create and manifest the things we want in life, we have to be conscious and we have to have clarity with our thoughts. We can't do it if we're in our unconscious state.
Yes.
Then we're just going to be getting a lot of junk we don't want.
Absolutely, you are. Robin is recalling an experience that she had many years ago. She was not feeling very well, so she had laid down in the bedroom downstairs, and Dave was outside working in his garage. she started to do a little bit of a meditation, a little bit of breathing in and out. And she, again, had a cold. She didn't feel very well. She can remember. And all of a sudden, she popped out of her body and saw herself lying on her bed. And prior to that happening, she asked herself a question as she was laying there, as she often did. Will I know myself when I pass on or I leave this body? Well, do you know what I mean by know myself? She kept saying. Will I know my individuality? Will I know Robin? Will Robin even exist? This was a fear that she had, that somehow she would be obliterated when she died, you see. And it's one of the reasons that she got the experience she did, because as she popped out and saw herself on the body, guess what? Her consciousness, the high part of herself, said, do you know who you are? And she said, yes, I do. I have full awareness. I see myself there on the bed and I hear you talking to me, you see.
Yeah.
And so from that moment on, she was aware of consciousness and what it is. And no matter how she tried to yell out to get her husband's attention, somehow she thought she could show him something or tell him something about the experience she was having. She could not move the body. It just laid there still on the bed, see, because she had withdrawn from it.
Yeah.
Experience.
So I guess, I don't know if personality would be the right term, but are you saying by that explanation that you just gave us, are you saying that, like, Robin is somebody who likes to swear or have a good laugh once in a while? Is that with her always from lifetime to
She
lifetime?
felt Heidi like herself. She felt just like you feel right now. If I were to say, do you know how you feel as Heidi? It doesn't matter whether you swear or you have a couple of beers or what your profession is. That's all a little bit of fluff. But when I say to you, you know who Heidi is. Inside yourself, you have a recognition of yourself. Do you understand? And as she was yanked out of her body, that did not change. She never missed a beat of awareness. She was aware of herself.
Yeah. So that would be, would you consider that to be similar to the human personality or something entirely different?
What are you referring to?
Well, like, the habits that you have, like some people are smiley and happy and silly, and others are more serious and stern. And there's a wide range of varieties of personalities. And my question is that an innate part of the being that is with you from lifetime to lifetime, or is that something you shift out of each incarnation?
There may be adjustments somewhat in the personality, but the essence or the part of yourself that is so recognizable to you will remain. It will never become, you will never become someone that is not to your recognition or to your alignment or to your knowing. We are looking for a term that would make you understand as a human. Robin said, having experienced it, she knows exactly what they are saying, because certainly as she was out of her body, she had no reason to engage her personality the same way as she did. And she realized that what was governing her was allowing her to engage in that body in the ways that you say, in the remarks that she makes, in the fun that she has, or in the projection of it that she is. But yet there is some deeper essence that is portrayed through this body that never changes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I was searching, as I often do, and I found this little couple paragraphs online, and I wanted to read it today to our listeners and get your thoughts on it, Athena. I think that it is very in line with what you teach, because a lot of us get hung up in thinking that we have to act a certain way, or we have to do a meditation, or we have to do this. And so I'll just read it. It says, the real secret to manifestation has nothing to do with staying positive, endless affirmations, exhausting visualizations, or vision boards. It's not about forcing yourself to sit down for an hour without thinking of any thoughts. It's about removing manifestation blocks in your chakras that prevent you from manifesting what you truly desire. These blocks are caused by years of societal programming, hidden traumas, and negative energy.
Yes, I would totally agree with that.
Yes.
There are beliefs that and what did we say? There's nothing that you can't achieve other than what you believe you cannot, or that you believe another tells you you cannot. see. And then to
Yes.
the degree that you have believed this, you have formed a perception now, and you bring that with you into the life. It is how you are experiencing anything that you would deem as not what you want or like, has been brought through you, by you, in the perception that you uphold by the experiences you've had. You see.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a different experience, you have to change your perception. But unfortunately, humans think that they have to change others' perceptions in order to have the life that they want, that they have to make the other one be the mate that they want them to be, instead of just keeping their focus on the mate that they want. It may not be the what mate that you want your mate to be. That's not for you to decide. You're to decide what you want and to hold your focus upon that. That's your job as a human experiencer. That's what the tool is for. Focus. I will focus on this now because I can tell you that is not what I want. And I know by what I don't want, what I do want. And that's where I'm going to focus. But what do? They stay focused on what they don't want. And they continue to complain. And then they make the one responsible. You're here. You're not doing what I want. You're the reason for my misery, you see. And the reason for your misery is your poor focus, is your decision to focus on more and more and more of what you are not wanting and not liking. Instead of just saying, I see it, I don't like it, I see it, I don't like it. I'm going to focus on what I want now because of it.
Mm-hmm. So I think we should make we're going to, I guess, let's ask our listeners to try a New Year's resolution of challenging our perceptions. And I think what I would use as an example, since we're in that holiday season, is most, not all, but most children believe in a Santa Claus when they're young. And it is truth to them, and they can't imagine it not being true until the day that one of their parents tell them, the truth about Santa Claus. And then all of a sudden, it's like a flip switch happens, and now you have a complete different belief than you had before. And so really, let's just use that example and try with some perceptions that we kind of have been holding a lot of years and feeling like truths to us, to release them like we release Santa Claus.
Well, we would like to revise it just a little bit, because as you focus upon something that you have not liked, there it is again, you see. We are advocates of waking meditation or walking meditation or living meditation. And let us tell you what that is. That's constantly observing what you love in the world, what you like to see. I get in my car, I love it. I have my coffee in the morning, like the smell of it, can't wait to have it. Yeah. I like when I drive down the road and see that people have their yards trimmed nicely. I love to see it. Yeah. Somebody goes by with a beautiful head of hair. Ah, that is beautiful. I like it. Yeah. So as you keep doing this in this active meditation, what might the universe return to you? You don't have to look at old perceptions and try to obliterate them. You simply have to change the perceptions that you have to the ones that you want.
Right. I would agree. But if you're having a lot of perceptions that hold you back and you're having difficulty with that, is it helpful though for people to say, wow, this is just something I choose to believe and I don't have to believe that?
Why are you having difficulty? Because you are focused in a direction that will not yield you what you are wanting. Why would you intentionally take your focus there? There's nothing there for you in what you are not wanting. When you have the lousy husband or the crappy job or the bad car, you don't try to talk yourself into being satisfied with it. You just simply decide what's been born of that: a more dependable car, a more agreeable mate, a nicer home. So you simply shift your focus onto that, and you do not worry about the details. You don't think it's not possible. You don't worry about how it's going to be delivered or when it's going to come. You prove to yourself, the master that you are, in this pinpointed focus directed at what you want. And you pay no attention at all to what you don't want. This is a problem that you all have in your masses. You look out into your masses and your studies and you decide to adopt them into your universe because you are afraid. Why are you afraid? Well, the guidance system is letting you know, if you want that to be part of your universe, then keep looking at it and thinking about it, and it will be. Or why don't you just put your focus on what you choose and not even notice anything that you're not wanting? Be indifferent to what others do that is not to your liking. Don't love it or disapprove of it. Just simply focus on what you personally want. That's all you have to do. Let that be your New Year's resolution. That I see things that I love, that I talk about what I enjoy, that I live life in a higher consciousness. That's what it is. It's picking and choosing. A master is just in a higher level of consciousness. We're in a higher level of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
You can be too.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. So every once in a while, I've noticed it's not like every week. I don't know if there's a reasoning for it. Maybe all of a sudden, every couple months, there'll be something new, like a little nugget of new information that pops out of you guys. And I'm kind of putting you on the spot, so I don't know if there will be anything today. But is there something that you've never told us before? Is there something that you think would be cool for people to hear in a way that they've never heard before that you'd like to share?
We reaffirm to you week in and week out, and sometimes it seems as though it's repetitive. But the negativity that you feel is always the belief that you cannot achieve something or have something that you are wanting. We are looking for a way that we can download that into you or give you the tool or something that you can grasp where that can become a reality to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no limits. And when I say that to you, I bet all of your minds went to where you've limited. There's a certain dollar amount of house. There's a certain achievement or level in your profession. There's something that comes to mind that you feel is not achievable. And it really isn't about what's actually achievable, because there's nothing you have to do unless you desire to do it. There's nothing you need to become unless it brings you joy to become it. Many of you are stuck in this idea that there is some level of perfection that you are needing to obtain or have to get to. And you think as you transcend this reality, this 3D reality that you are in, that you're going someplace else, and you're really not. All you're doing is expanding your consciousness. This daily meditation that we told you, that you pay attention to everything that you are loving in your day, is what will rise your consciousness. And as your consciousness rises, you get privy to more and more miracles. There it is, Heidi.
Okay.
More and more miracles. You will actually begin to see things that you were not able to see, that you couldn't even believe were possible to see, just by elevating your consciousness. And it's why you're here. We're talking about manifestation week in and week out, and we are telling you it is a plane where there are many things available to you. But the one thing you really came for was a rise in your consciousness, was to get this concept that you can continue to rise. There are levels of consciousness that would blow your minds. But you have to work your way up. You have to, in your words, not ours, do the work. We wouldn't call it work. Is it so hard to feel good? Is it so hard to choose feeling good? This is how you elevate your consciousness. You don't elevate it through your study. You don't elevate it with your money. You don't elevate it with anything other than your choice to feel good.
Well, that was a nice way to end things today. I enjoyed that. Well, thank you so much. Anyone that has any questions or comments or would like to ever be on our YouTube, please email me, Heidi at athenaintruth.com. We thank you for listening in with us again this week.
Yes. We are just going to say in closing, Heidi, we are only as good as the questions we get, you see. We would love to have any everyday experiences that those of you are struggling with that we could dismantle or take apart, because in the struggles of life or in the discussions of life, oftentimes the answers to questions come forward and new nuggets of information, such you are referring to, Heidi. This is how they are made available. So we would be very grateful to anyone that has any type of a curiosity or a question to please submit it to Heidi at Heidi@AthenaandTruth.com, so that we can deliver to you content that is very beneficial, very rich, and very learning for you.
Yes, and also I had forgotten until you just brought that up, that is also something that we're going to try working on as well, with our our acquaintances, or even acquaintances of acquaintances. If we have some stories that we think will benefit you, we will use those storylines hopefully in future episodes to give to everybody, because I think it will be helpful to everybody as well.
Also in the future, we might possibly have some guests on the show. Heidi would be conducting those interviews. I would be joining as Athena, yes. And we are also in the future going to possibly share some private sessions so that people can get an idea of how this works and what a human can expect when they have a session with Athena.
Sounds real good. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.